Good morning. This is White Raptor News Ministries. All praise and glory to the Supreme Spirit of Truth, the Living One. I'm telling you, this plane of existence is just a horrid place to live. I just sent my daughter $1,000. I sent $500 for my granddaughter, my oldest granddaughter. I sent $300 to my youngest granddaughter, and I sent her a couple $100. So 2 days later, I finally get a text from them that they received the money, and she thanked me. She sent me a little message from my granddaughter that says, "Thank you, Papa, for the money. I love you." And that was precious. That was a gift. That was beautiful. But now what's egging me on and rearing me up is that my oldest granddaughter, the one that I sent $500, hasn't called, hasn't said anything, hasn't given me a thank you. And I've been trying to get my daughter to have her call me for a week. So I finally get my daughter on the phone this morning, and why is she the one that's annoyed? I ain't gonna wake up to this when I say, "Will you have Zayla call me?" And she says, "Yeah, well, where's Zayla? She's out right now." It's always an excuse. She's with her friends. She's in Mexico. She's down in Long Beach. She's over. This child travels more of the United States than I did, and she's only 11 years old. She's been to Mexico. My daughter allowed my granddaughter to go to Mexico with a family that, I don't know, maybe they're the best friends in the world. But would you allow somebody to take your kid out of the country to another state? What if they never returned? How would you locate them? I'm sorry, these are my thought processes. I would never allow my child to go out of the country unless I went to the country with her. So I asked my daughter, I want to take my granddaughter to Magic Mountain, and my daughter's all like shelling her. Like, well, she wants to go, but she wants me to go with her. It's always an excuse. "Oh, well, have my granddaughter call me about the $500. "Okay, Dad, I will." And it never happens. She never calls her. I call it. This is a week later. My granddaughter hasn't called me at all. You know what I got? I got this right here. This is what I got from my granddaughter. And I don't even think that was from my granddaughter. I think that was probably my daughter or her husband that sent that message. See, the bottom line is they're not allowing me to interact with my granddaughter, because the last time I spoke with her on the phone, the mother was in earshot of her. And I told her that when she grows up and she finds somebody to be in love with, and to find one man and spend the rest of your life with that man, no matter how hard it is, no matter how much grief you go through, for both of you, it should be an eternal thing with one another. If a whale in the ocean can submit and be with one another, a monogamous relationship between a whale, and we are the intelligent ones, then we should be able to do the same just as such. And it's not possible, it seems, on this plane of existence for couples to be loyal to one another. You know, it's just really weird. So I'm a little bit annoyed this morning because, as always, my daughter, she makes this about her when I call her up, and is, "Oh, I'm not going to let you wake me up and start in on this." And the truth is, it's like this. I'll give you an example. If you are a husband and your wife has asked you to clean the garage, and she asked you to clean the garage because she planned on having a get-together with all of her friends, and she wanted to keep it outside of the house so the house wasn't put in a wreck. So she wanted the garage cleaned up, and she asks the husband to clean the garage on his day off. Well, surely no one wants to do anything on their day off, but the husband says okay. And then the weekend comes and it goes, and the garage wasn't cleaned, and the wife doesn't really say anything about it. She lets it ride. And then 2 weeks later, she decides to have a little get together with her friends again, and the garage is still a mess, hasn't been done, touched, or anything. She asks the husband to clean the garage again. And which he says, "Okay, I will. I'll take care of it for you." And then the weekend comes and goes, and the garage wasn't cleaned, and he didn't do it for you. Okay? So now the wife starts bickering at the husband, starts nagging, starts picking at the husband. Hey, listen, I've asked you to clean the garage a couple times now, and you've blown it off both times, and the garage is still a mess a month and a half later. Now it's football season, and the husband wants to have some fucking friends over, but he wants to party inside the house. And he's sitting there with all of his friends before the Super Bowl even starts. She comes in and she says, I have friends coming over too, and you've been promising me to clean the garage, in which he never cleans the garage, and he tells her, I'll get to it right after this game is over. Would that be annoying? That's the way that it works. Is the wife isn't a nag. The wife has asked the husband to do something several times, and the husband keeps blowing her off. He keeps making excuses. He keeps telling her, it's my day off. I don't want to clean it on my day off. And the bottom line is the garage never gets clean. It's almost the same thing with my granddaughter. No matter how many times I call my daughter on the phone and I say to her, have Zayla give me a call. It's like this morning. Oh, we've been busy with the holidays. What holidays? What holidays? Are you calling Halloween a holiday? That's a holiday for you? You know, she's not here right now. Oh, okay. Well, you know, and I try to tap on, I'm on eggshells here, because I know how my daughter is. If you set her off in the wrong direction, she might not never call me for a year or answer the phone or anything for a year. But you know when she'll call? When she needs something, or when she's hurting, or when she really needs to talk with somebody outside of her circle, somebody who isn't going to judge her, who's not biased, who just tries to correct her. So it's so difficult having this life. It's like no good deed goes unpunished. I'm being punished. I sent my daughter a freaking $1,000, and I can't even get a phone call from my granddaughter. And I find that so offensive. In fact, it's almost the exact same way that my first wife, my daughter's mother, who is just an evil person, man, evil to the core. She did the same thing with my daughter. She took my daughter from me. She would kidnap my daughter. She'd empty the bank account. She'd move back to Modesto. She'd be gone for 6 months. And then she'd be calling me up on the phone 6 months later. I want to come home. I miss you. I love you. Laying all the fucking sweet talk. I let her back in. You know what it is she taking her vacations until her parents couldn't stand her anymore and started riding her ass and telling her to do something with her life and get a fucking job. And you know, but so that's when, okay, well, my parents are telling me to get out now. I guess I'll run back to my fucking husband and I'll work him, and I'll steal from him, and I'll manipulate him, and I'll con him, and I'll take from him, and I'll use the children as tools to destroy the man. That's what my first wife did. She did that all the time with my daughter. And now my daughter is doing the exact same thing with my grandchildren. 2 peas in a pod. The mother and the daughter are identical. My daughter says to me all the time, I'm a daddy's girl. I'm just like daddy. She's nothing like me. There's nothing in that soul of a child that is like me. Nothing. She is a manipulator. She is a liar. She everything is to her glory. If it's not making her happy, or she doesn't profit in it somehow, some way, then you're not getting anything. And even if she is profiting from it somehow, some way, she's not giving anything. No good deed goes unpunished. What do you guys think? $500, does that deserve a phone call from your grandchild if you were to send it? What would you guys think? Stick it down there in the column. Let's see what you have to say. I really would like to hear what you guys have to say. I would love to hear what you have to say. Put it down inside the comment. Thank you. We're here at Samuel 19. Joab was told the king is weeping and mourning for Absalom, and the whole army, the victory that day was turned into mourning, because on that day the troops heard it said, the king is grieving for his son. The men stole into the city that day as men steal in who are ashamed when they flee from battle. What's shame? Look at that. Indoctrination. Shame from fleeing from battle. A shame from fleeing for your life. this is the problem. This is the way that the government runs. They sell you a lying shit show and manipulate you into going to war. And when you go into war, what do you think happens? You die. When you die. Here's a few meanings of the word soldier. The word soldier has multiple meanings, including a person who serves in the military, a type of ant or termite, or a verb that means to continue through difficult times. The man was such a soldier when he walked through the grief of the loss of his wife. He's been a soldier. He didn't fall apart. Okay, but what's the problem? Look at this word here, Folger. G-E-R, Folger. Soldier, Folger, soldier, Folger, soldier. How the hell do you get a D-I-E-R on soldier, huh? Because when the soul, when the spirit, your soul, goes off to war in the flesh suit, your soul dies. It's in dire straits. The soul that goes off to war and gets itself killed is in dire straits. So when it says that a man flees from battle, listen, I tell you, the draft doesn't exist. They can't draft you. They can't spook you. They can't scare you into a draft and going to war. It's your body, folks. Stop letting these people think that they have control over your flesh. Stop giving them the power. Stop voting for evil to rule over you. The king covered his face and cried aloud, "O my son Absalom, O Absalom, my son, my son." Then Joab went into the house of the king and said, "Today you have humiliated all your men who have just saved your life and the lives of your sons and daughters and the lives of your wives and concubines. You love those who hate you and you hate those that love you." Huh. Wow. Is that a profound statement? Because truly, I love my daughter, right? I don't like my daughter. I mean, she wears on my patience like no other. And I love her and I give to her and I give and I give and I give. And she takes and she takes and she takes. And her mother, this is the kind of mother she has. Mom, will you watch the kids for me while Jason and I go out for our anniversary, our 2-year anniversary, our 1-year anniversary? Sure, bring them on over. I'll do that for you, but I'm going to charge you $20 an hour. What's the going rate for babysitting today? That's her mother. I'd never charge my kid to babysit them grandchildren. I would love to be around my grandchildren, but that's the way she is. You see, it's all about me, me, me. What can I do? How am I going to profit? Oh, you want to go out? Well, what are you going to do for me and if I'm going to help you? See, my soul ain't like that. I help people without a reward. I teach here today with one reward in mind, salvation. You know, it's hard to do what I do here. Read this Bible day in, day out, share content with you, bring you the hidden scriptures, the meanings behind what the scriptures are being said, and have so little given back. You know, 433 subscribers. I'm lucky if I get 3 of you to look at my content. And I know that those 3 that are looking at my content are watching my content. And then I have the YouTube fucking CEOs that hit me with people coming in and they watch 30 seconds and then they leave to kill the algorithm. That's all they're trying to do. They don't want what I teach getting out to the people. So I can relate to this comment, you love those who hate you and you hate those who love you. Because I do everything I possibly can to build this bridge that has been created between the government, my daughter and I, because she's raised by the government, and she just continues to beat me down. You have made it clear today that the commanders and their men mean nothing to you. I see that you would be pleased if Absalom were alive today and all of us were dead. Now go out and encourage your men. I swear by the Lord that if you don't go out, not a man will be left with you by nightfall. This will be worse for you than all the calamities that have come on you from your youth till now. So they're telling you right there that one calamity after another calamity after another calamity. For one brief moment in David's life, he slayed Goliath, became the king, and from that moment on, what happened? He became corrupted. Face it, folks. He sent Uriah out on the front lines where the battling was the most fierce so that man would be killed and he could take his wife. Okay? He's done a lot of shady things since he's been in the king. And it falls truth when he says that you love those that hate you let's go right to it. You love those who hate you and hate those who love you. My daughter, I truly thinks that the girl, she says she loves me, but all of her actions are opposite of anything of love. It's completely opposite. And I don't know why I continue to do, I do. I continue to help her out because I would like to have a relationship with my grandchildren. But it's becoming a painful, regular act for her to be defiant and not allow me to see the children, and it's eating me up inside. It's just another thing that creates more hate and bitterness and pain and grief in my soul. It's just one more fucking thing. So the king got up and took his seat in the gateway. When the men were told the king is sitting in the gateway, they all came before him. Meanwhile, the Israelites had fled to their homes. David returned to Jerusalem. Throughout the tribes of Israel, all the people were arguing among themselves, saying, "The king delivered us from the hands of our enemies. He is the one who rescued us from the hands of the Philistines." That was the only thing that I've read in this Bible that David did that was a righteous act. Is he stepped up to a man that was twice his size and slayed him, and then cut his head off his shoulders and, rolled it like a bowling ball. I mean, you kill somebody, I don't see any act removing somebody's head after they're dead. That's, to me, is a sign of complete disrespect of the body itself. Okay, the body's just a piece of meat, man. What you did is you removed the soul from the body. The soul dies. But now he has fled the country to escape from Absalom. And Absalom, whom anointed to rule over us, had died in battle. So why do you say nothing about bringing the king back? King David sent his message to Zerach and Abiathar the priest. "Ask the elder of Judah, why should you be the last to bring the king back to his palace, since what is being said throughout Israel has reached the king at his quarters? You are my relative, my own flesh and blood, so why should you be the last to bring back the king? And say to Amasa, are you not my own flesh and blood? May God deal with me, be it ever so severely, if you are not the commander of my army for life in place of Joab." He won over the hearts of the men of Judah so that they were all of one mind. They sent word to the king. I find that all were of one mind. Anything that is of one mind is a hive mind. They sent word to the king, "Return you and all your men." Then the king returned and went as far as the Jordan. Now the men of Judah had come to Gilgal to go out and meet the king and bring him across the Jordan. Shimei, son of Gera, the Benjamite from Bahurim, hurried down with the men of Judah to meet King David. With him were 1,000 Benjamites, along with Ziba, the steward of Saul's household, and his 15 sons and 20 servants. They rushed to the Jordan where the king was. They crossed at the ford to take the king's household over and to do whatever he wished. When Shimei, son of Gera, crossed the Jordan, he fell prostrate before the king and said to him, "May my lord not hold me guilty. Do not remember how your servant did wrong on the day my lord the king left Jerusalem. May the king put it out of his mind, For I, your servant, know that I have sinned, but today I have come here as the first from the tribe of Joseph to come down and meet my lord the king." Then Abishai, son of Zeruiah, said, "Shouldn't Shimei be put to death for this? He cursed the Lord's anointed." David replied, "What does this have to do with you? Your son of Zeruiah, what right do you have to interfere? What right does anyone have to interfere in anybody's personal family life? The government sure the fuck thinks that they have the right to interfere in your life. The government thinks that they have the right to sit and watch you, to listen to you through these devices. Hey, Snowden told you guys flat out the NSA is watching and listening to you. And then you have Americans that are saying, well, if I'm not doing anything wrong, what should it matter if what I'm doing? Well, what should it matter? What if you finally come to a point where you're so fucking disgusted with your government and stuff that you're trying to get together a rally? Now all of a sudden they're watching you. They're watching you put together a rally. So now you're in their eyesights. So now you're an enemy to the government. What do you think that government's going to try to do to you if you're an enemy to them? Huh? Should anyone be put to death in Israel today? Don't I know that today I am king over Israel? So the king said to Shimei, "You shall not die." And the king promised him an oath. Mephibosheth, Saul's grandson, also went down to meet the king. He had not taken care of his feet, or trimmed his mustache, or washed his clothes from the day the king left until the day he returned safely. When he came from Jerusalem to meet the king asked him, "Why didn't you go with me, Mephibosheth?" He said, "My lord the king, since your servant am lame, I said, I will have my donkey saddled and will ride on it, so I can go with the king. But Ziba, my servant, betrayed me, and he has slandered your servant to my lord the king. My lord the king is like an angel of God." An angel, so in a way, he's calling King David here an angel of God. He's calling King David a priest, because that's what an angel is, folks. So in the Greek/Hebrew definition for angel, which is angelos, which is a messenger, especially an angel, by implications a pastor. Pastors are priests, they're bishops, they're deacons, clerics, men of the cloth, call them what you want. An angel is a messenger. It's a bishop. My lord the king is like an angel of God, so do whatever you wish. All my grandfather's descendants deserve nothing but death from my lord the king, but you gave your servant a place among those who eat at your table. So what right do I have to make any more appeals to the king?" The king said to him, "Why say more? I order you and Ziba to divide the land." Mephibosheth said to the king, "Let him take anything, now that my lord the king has returned home safely." Barzillai the Gileadite also came down from Rogelim to cross the Jordan with the king and send him on his way from there. Now Barzillai was very old, 80 years of age. He had provided for the king during his stay in Mahanaim, for he was a very wealthy man. The king said to Barzillai, "Cross over with me and stay with me in Jerusalem, and I will provide for you." I will provide for you? I thought it's the Creator that provides for all. This is why you can't put man, either human or mankind, before the Supreme Spirit. You got to understand that humans are spiritual beings. Okay? They're trapped in a flesh suit just like we're all trapped in this flesh suit. But Barzillai answered the king, "How many more years will I live? that I should go up to Jerusalem with the king. I am now 80 years old. Can I tell the difference between what is enjoyable and what is not? Can your servant taste what he eats and drinks? Can I still hear the voices of male and female singers? Why should your servant be an added burden to my lord, the king? The Lord, again, the king. So this is a controller, okay? It's not the supreme creator. This is what I mean. People are calling one another Lord. And Lord in the Bible is Yahweh, Yah or Yahweh, and that is all God of Israel, and God of Israel in Gematria is 666. Your servant will cross over the Jordan with the king for a short distance. But why should the king reward me in this way? Let your servant return, that I may die in my own town near the tomb of my father and mother. But here is your servant Kimham. Let him cross over with my lord the king. Do for him whatever you wish. The king said, Kimham shall cross over with me, and I will do for him whatever you wish. And anything you desire from me, I will do for you. So all the people crossed the Jordan, and then the king crossed over. The king kissed Barzillai and bid him farewell, and Barzillai returned to his home. When the king crossed over to Gilgal, Kimham crossed with him. All the troops of Judah and half the troops of Israel had taken the king over. Soon all the men of Israel were coming to the king and saying to him, Why did our brothers, the men of Judah, steal the king away and bring him and his household across the Jordan together with all his men? All the men of Judah answered the men of Israel, We did this because the king is closely related to us. Why are you angry about it? Have we eaten any of the king's provisions? Have we taken anything for ourselves? Then the men of Israel answered the men of Judah, We have 10 shares in the king, so we have a greater claim to David than you have. Why then do you treat us with contempt? Weren't we the first to speak of bringing back our king? But the men of Judah pressed their claims even more forcefully than the men of Israel. So all praise and glory to the Supreme Spirit. Sorry about the rant, man, but sometimes when you're in this battle, man, and it seems that those that are supposed to be closest to you and those that are your children and those that are supposed to love you the most are the ones that cause you the most grief. And it's been that way for me since I jumped on this train of truth, man. My whole family's kind of turned against me. My daughter's turned against me, but she'll tell me every time on the phone, I love you, Daddy, I'll talk to you. And it's almost like nails on a chalkboard for me when she says it, because it's just a word for her. There's no definition for the word love in her vocabulary. She doesn't understand what love is. She's completely misguided and doesn't understand. So sometimes I have to get this stuff out. All praise and glory to the Supreme Spirit of Truth, the living one, the author of life, the perpetual force that moves all things in place, the point of singularity. Glory be to the Spirit. This is White Raptor News Ministries.